Thursday. Let me know if as you're coming in. I just wanted to jump in here real quick. I know it's dinner time where I'm at, but I wanted to jump in here because today was an incredible day. I completed the very first training of the Affluent Entrepreneur Live this morning. I see people jumping on. Let me know. Say hello. Let me know that you're here. And we've just finished the first training of the Affluent Entrepreneur Live. It's a 3-part training series that we are doing, that I'm doing. The next session is not till next week, but I wanted to kind of go through some of the things that let me make sure that it's coming through. All right, because here's the cool thing about it. It was a totally worldwide audience. We had people from Bermuda, from Nigeria, from Peru, from the UK, from Canada, from Australia, New Zealand, Scotland. I mean, it was all over the place. It was so cool to have the conversations, to talk about the money and what needs to be done and how do we make things work for us. And so, I thought I would jump in here real quickly and just talk through some things and see if anyone had any questions. And I'm checking in on those of you that attended. Have you done the work yet? Because we had an assignment, and all of that. So here's some of the things we covered. If you didn't make it, if you didn't get a chance to watch it live, it's not too late. It's not too late. Here's what I'd love for you to do. Go to affluencelive.com. Make sure you're in the game. You'll get access to the replay. You'll get access to the all access page so you can watch the training before we get to the next training, which isn't until Tuesday. So you've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You've got plenty of time to go through this first training. The first training really was trying to baseline and start to peel away the first layer of what's holding people back typically from financial independence. And if you know me, I believe that financial independence is a birthright. We just are never taught. We never have taught how to achieve it. So that's where we were starting out with. And so let me know as you're coming in, just say hello. I see people jumping in all over the place. And so some of the things that we talked about to kind of get some things stripped away to allow us to start building things in a different way. I love the hearts. Thank you. Is this one of the first things that I talked about is this allure of entrepreneurship. We get into entrepreneurship from Wyoming. I've never been to Wyoming. I got to get to Wyoming. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So Val's, so good to see you here. Thank you. Drew is in the house, my friend Drew. I think we're talking tomorrow. So we talked about, I started out this whole idea of the allure of entrepreneurship. And so the key there is that we come to a business. A lot of times we decide that we're going to start a business and we're going to start it because we want freedom. We're going to start it because we want control. We're going to start it because we think that all of a sudden my life is mine and I get to do whatever I want to do. And nothing could be further from the truth. All right. We find ourselves in a situation where we get on this thing called the treadmill. I call it a treadmill entrepreneur. And what you do is you start running. And all of a sudden, instead of having freedom, you're imprisoned by your business. You're entrenched in your business. If you're not there, you can't get any, you're not making anything. And so the only way to scale is to do more, harder, longer, faster. And that becomes a challenge. And you hit breakdown and burnout and all of those things that start to go in. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is solve for that. Make sure that you actually do get freedom and everything. And so we talked about that in the training. And all that. Tina, thanks, Mel. It's amazing to have a space not to feel alone in this journey, as we are all human with so many great intentions, and most of us were never taught all this correctly, as you said. Listen, welcome to the family, Tina. Welcome to the neighborhood, all of you, because That's what this is. It's a safe place for us to have the real conversations around money, around wealth, about business, entrepreneurship, around building a life that allows you to live the rich life, to create the legacy, not something you leave behind, but something you create today that makes a difference in people's lives. And so you create this business machine, which is fine, but the business machine was never meant. They didn't tell us this. This was the dirty little secret. It was never meant to give you freedom. The business machine was meant to have an impact, to solve a problem, to create a solution, to do things for other people, and to give you cash flow. And then we have to create the second machine, and the second machine is the money machine. And we talked about that also, is what does it take to create the money machine? Because it's the money machine that gives you the freedom. The business machine gives you the cash flow and the building blocks for the money machine, but it doesn't automatically give you freedom. Peru is in the house again. I love it. So that was one of the first things when we started to talk about this, is the allure of entrepreneurship and the reality of entrepreneurship. Now, I love being an entrepreneur. I love being able to do the things that I do, to be able to serve, to make a difference in people's lives, to know that my work matters. My work is doing something for other people. But at the same time, I need to use it to build a life, to build something, that affluent life. We talked about affluence also, and affluence being not about opulence, not about all these luxuries and Lamborghinis and jets, but really about an affluent life that's built on a meaningful life, on a impactful life, on a fruitful life, and a peaceful life. Those things, we went a little deeper into it, but I think you start to understand that what we're talking about is a holistic approach to creating richness in life, and not just wealth in a bank account. Wealth in a bank account doesn't necessarily give you freedom. You think it does, but there's plenty of wealthy people that are miserable. They're entrapped. They're immersed in a bank account, and they have no richness in life. They have no joy in life and everything. And so these are the things that we were starting to talk about. Now, if you know someone that's in this space, or that needs to hear this message, do me a favor, click the share button, share it out. Let's have the conversation. Let's get them on the trainings. They can come and watch the replay of training number 1, and then join us live for the last 2 trainings. We're going to go deep. We just peeled one layer back, because I wanted to strip away some of the barriers. I wanted you to understand the journey. I wanted you to understand where we were going, and the path to get there, the 4 stages of the affluence journey, and what does it take to transition from one stage to the next. And the 3 pillars of what it means to be an affluent entrepreneur, what it takes to be an affluent entrepreneur, and that we have to have those 3 pillars in place. Otherwise, something's going to go amiss. Something is going to go amiss. So, oh my God, Drew is in both places. He's seeing double. Drew, it's like seeing my twin brother. I have an identical twin brother. So one's Jeff and one's Mel, and all that. That's a whole nother story, is how the names came about, but we can deal with that. And my adopted son, Zach, is on with us. So good to see you, my friend. And so here's where we got to look at this. And this goes back to what Tina had posted in the comments. And that is this. There is a money taboo. Money is taboo. We're not supposed to talk about it. We hit on this in the training also, about the importance of us having conversations. Problems don't get solved without conversations, without communication. Money's no different, and so the whole purpose of, 1, the training, 2, the group, 2, my Instagram page, and my show, the Affluent Entrepreneur Show, is to provide a community where you can come, where you can belong, where you can know that you are part of a community, where we can have conversations and not be demonized because we happen to be talking about money and happen to be talking about wealth and making a difference. Because The money is just agnostic. It doesn't mean anything until we give it the meaning. It's the tool that allows us to move our missions forward. It's the tool that allows us to move our messages forward. It's the tool that allows us to build the castles and the temples and the churches and the chapels and all those things. It's the tool that allows us to create the legacies that we want and to create a life that outlives us. But the tool is neither bad nor good. It has to do with how you use it. When we want to give you the tools, the tactics, the strategies to use it properly, to use it effectively. And part of the thing that gets in the way is the jibber jabber in our head, the talk in our head, the stories we have. The stories we tell ourselves are the stories that come to life in our world. It becomes the life we live. And so we all have money stories. We grew up with it because our money, that's Budo. That's my little puppy who's not so little anymore. He's over 40 pounds. And it's okay. Here. This is Budo. Come here, Budo. You want to say hi? I don't know if you can. He's too busy. But so the stories that are in our head hold us back. We watch people with money. We saw things with our parents, with our neighbors, with the media, and we start to interpret them. We start to judge them. We start to decide that money is bad or it's good. We just start to decide that I'm not worthy of money because I just came from this kind of household or from this side of the tracks. Or we decide all these things that put a money set point in our lives, and we need to strip that away, and we need to realize that there is fact and there is story, there's interpretation. And it's not until we separate the facts and we can look at the facts unemotionally that we can then move beyond and start to shift some things. We talked about the money story dynamic and how that flows in there. And then I kind of we went through the 4 types of money scripts that, doctors Ted and Ted Klontz talks about, and what could be going on in your head. And none of this is wrong. It just is. It's unfortunately a product of society and what we do and what has happened to us because we've chosen for some reason to demonize money and say we're not talking about it. But until we talk about it, we can't solve it. Until we talk about it, we can't change your financial trajectory. We can't change your financial destiny. And it's not because finances and wealth and money is complex. And certainly the financial services industry would love for you to think that, because then we become dependent on them. But it is more because we just don't know. They don't teach it in school. They don't talk about it. We don't talk about it at home. We didn't talk about it at home. It was impolite. Okay. But when you look at the statistics, here's the deal. 80% of millionaires are actually first generation. Guess what? They didn't inherit it. They didn't get gifted it. They didn't win it. They made it. They created it. First generation. The beautiful thing about that is if you all aren't millionaires yet, you can be a first generation millionaire. 80% of them have done it. Over a third of them in this study, it was a study of 10,000 millionaires. And I talked a little bit about the stats from it. 31% of them never made their average income over their career was only 100 grand. And they still became a millionaire. It's not the money, it's what we do with it. Okay. And entrepreneurs are wonderful at creating money, at making money in many cases. They're just not good at multiplying the money. That's what we need to do. But no one ever tells us that. We earn and we spend. And then what's ever left over, we save. It's the wrong way to look at it. So the training that we did, we started to dig into these things and start to strip away and peel away at the layers of the things that are holding us back, the stories in our head, so we can get into deeper conversation in the next training. The next training, we're going to go through the 5 core wealth principles that all affluent entrepreneurs need to make it happen, to create wealth. And I'm going to ask everyone that's on and watching, I'm going to ask you to make 5 critical decisions for your life. 5 of them. If when you make these 5 critical decisions, you commit to these critical decisions, you start to see things shift. And then in that next training, we're going to start looking at numbers. We're going to figure out, and we give you the formula to figure out what your lifestyle wealth target is. What is that number that we need to go towards? And then we can build the plan. And I give you the 9 accelerators to get you there in training number 3. So here's the deal. Training number 1 was to strip away some of this stuff and for you to understand the journey. And the exercise that I gave for everyone that was there or going through the training now on the replay is for you, is walking you through an exercise that helps you understand the money stories that are creating your money set points, so we can then figure out what the change is, what we need to fix, so we can separate the fact from the interpretation, because it's the fact that matters. The interpretation is causing the problem, but it's not real. It's in our mind. Does that make sense to you? Let me know. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. Let me know if this is resonating with you, because I think it's really important for those of you that want to go through the replay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to affluencelive.com, get into the replay, and watch it. Make your comments. Go to the Facebook group. Leave me your comments. Leave me your questions, and let's make sure we get them answered. I'm yours for the next couple of weeks to shift and change your financial trajectory. Just make sure that you have the tools, the strategies. I'm here, and it's your time to get access to that. Thank you, Karen, for posting that in there. And because here's the thing. If you're not where you want to be financially, if you're not in that position, then my question is, are you taking steps to make it happen? And if not, why not? If not now, when? And if not for yourself, what about for your legacy, your children, your grandchildren, the people you care about? Financial independence is your birthright. It truly is your birthright. It's time to go claim it. And this training, like I said, it's free. It's me and you, and I have worked with some people that are millionaires, billionaires, 100,000aires, if you call them that, starting out. I can get you there, but I can't run the miles for you. You got to run them yourself. I can help you. I just need you to get in the game and work in the game. Okay? Engage in the process. So that's it. I just wanted to jump in here. I did the training this morning and I missed everyone. So I thought, I'm going to jump in live. What the heck? We just, and see if there's any questions, anything that comes up, anyone that has anything. I'm totally yours for a little bit here and doing that. Now, something just came in. It says Facebook user. I don't know who that is because, but I if you can put your name, and you just said, seems like every opportunity requires a lot of money up front in order to get to a point of making it. This is a great point. It depends on the opportunity. Okay. I got to tell you, I'll be really frank with you. I believe that we are in the time of the greatest opportunity for our lifetime right now. Okay. I truly believe that. The barriers of entry are down. It's far easier to create a business than it ever was. Access to capital, if you need it, is there. there's change afoot. Okay. Some people will look at it and say it's uncertainty. I look at it and say it's change. But anytime there's uncertainty and change, that brings with it opportunity. Misty, no problem, Misty. The only reason I can't see your name is probably you didn't authorize Facebook to show it. It's not a big deal, but now I know, so I can at least talk to you personally and say that. So thank you for being on, Misty. Is that depending on the kind of business, you can bootstrap a business. I almost said bootleg the business, which is probably the wrong term. So bootstrap the business. Rex, I know which one is you. So I appreciate it, man. And so we can bootstrap. I look at it today and say we can build businesses with just an iPhone. If you want to build a personal brand business, if you want to build an expert business, we don't need to spend a lot. You can get a Zoom account for free. You can do all kinds of things. It depends on what you're trying to do, Misty, but there doesn't need to be a lot of capital spent. And there's a huge amount of opportunity today to create something, because there's a lot of change and there's a lot of need, and people are in some areas are struggling. And when they're struggling, there's a need for a solution. And if we can provide a good solution, an effective solution for them, we then have the ability to create a business around it. Okay. And so that's how I would look at it. Now. And Misty, it looks like you're in the insurance area, and so that's a professional practice. I mean, I'm not sure where the money you would need. You wouldn't. I don't know where there's a whole lot of capital necessary. You're not investing in equipment other than a computer. A lot of that, now you're going to need to do marketing. You probably need a website, but websites are easy to get into. They're not costly to do. It's more a lot of sweat equity that you need to put in about getting out there. You have a phone. You get on live just like I'm doing here and start talking about why insurance is good, what we need with insurance, where does it fit, where are the problems, all of those things, and let people get to know you. Okay. Jacob says, I saw you at Transform You. That was great. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina speaking. What a great venue. It was so cool. Stephen Scoggins is a dear soul too. Didn't have time to watch the class today, but looking forward to seeing the video. All right, man. Jacob, let me know how it goes if you've got questions or anything to make that happen. Drew's saying something about coaching and consulting can be started basically. But yeah, absolutely. You just need to put in the work to find the people. I totally agree with you. Yeah. So I totally agree with you, Drew, on this. This is we got to do the sweat equity. We got to put the effort in. And I hesitated for a moment because I saw what Misty just posted, because a lot of companies suggest buying leads. I guess I got to figure out the marketing instead, like you said. All right. So let me do something for you, if I can. And this may help. Unfortunately, you won't be able to directly see it on Instagram, but I'm going to explain this to you. And I see Dodgers has something here too. So what we need to understand when it comes to our business is that there's different levels of what we do. Initially, people would say, "Oh, I market, and therefore I get clients." Okay, therefore I get clients, and so marketing is about raising the awareness. And so if we go into this, so you can see this at least on the screen. So if I look at this, marketing is about raising awareness. So once we market, then we need to sell. So I need a sales system in place, and there's selling is how we start to create a position. Now, what we're talking about is, I'm talking about insurance here, but I'm talking about service providers, professionals. This is how I built my CPA practice, my valuation practice, my consulting practice. So it will make sense to you to understand what is so important and why it's important for you to do this. And I don't buy into buying email lists or lists to go and cold call and try to do that. It's pushing a boulder uphill. I think that there's better ways to do that. So what happens is they say, well, I'm marketing, well, now I'm selling. And then what people will say is, well, wait a second. I get referrals. I get my clients from referrals. And if I'm misspelling on here, I apologize, but iPad doesn't have spell check. We'll have to get Apple on that. So you get referrals, word of mouth referrals. But here's what happens with a referral. Okay. And hopefully this will make sense to you, Misty, as we get through this. The referral is something where, say someone says, well, here's 3 people that do the same thing. Go talk to them and see what happens. Okay. Decide which one you want. So what ends up happening is when they refer you, you become part of the short list. And that's great. You want to be on as many short lists as possible. Okay. So you want to be on many short lists as possible. But what is better than referrals? What is better than referrals when you start talking about building something is what we call recommendations. Okay. Recommendations. Here's the difference. Like I said, a referral, they usually give out your name with a couple of others' names and say, hey, check it out. A recommendation, though, says the only person to go to for this is Mel. The only person to go to for wealth and financial is Mel, or the only person to go to for insurance is Misty, or YouTube is Drew, or technology is Rex, or and I'm picking on the people I know, and all that. So what ends up happening is they recommend you, and instead of you being one on the short list, you become the whole short list. They're not giving a bunch of names. So the recommendation is what we're striving for at a minimum. But here's the thing that trumps all of it. It trumps your marketing, it trumps your sales, it trumps your referrals, and it trumps your recommendations. And this is what I want you to get out of this, Misty, that it's so important for you to think about, is that positioning. Okay. Positioning above all else is the thing that's going to drive things. Let me explain why this is so important. And I'll use me as an example. I started doing valuations and consulting work back in, now I'm going to date myself. No one make any age comments here. Okay. Back in 1990. So I was doing it for a while. Now I had to build my practice. This was pre kind of internet. We didn't have the ability to go live and do these things. So the problem was no one knew who I was. No one wanted to hire me. And so I had to figure out a way to be seen by the marketplace, but not just be seen. Okay. But to be seen as a premium provider that sets me apart from everyone else with distinction. And when I figured that out, it positioned me internationally as one of the top people in my field. What does that mean? That means that instead of me trying to go out and pull people in, they come running in on their own. Here's what I mean. That whole side of my business, I have no website. I do no marketing. I don't meet with any referral sources any longer. I haven't done any of that for a decade, over a decade. I don't do lunches. I don't do network meetings. I don't do any of that. But my positioning still exists. And the phone rings and they still hire me. And they know that I'm not cheap. So, point being is that rather than buying an email list, I would look at it and say, let's put a strategy and plan in place to monetize and position you as the go-to person in your geography, in your space, in your industry. That takes some work. To me, it's a 3-year journey. The first year is to raise the awareness. The second year is to gain traction. And the third year is to build scale. Now, we can do it faster, but if we go in with a 3-year mindset, we play the game differently. We're in it for the long term. So what I would look at is, how do we get you out there positioned? And for anyone out there that is looking to build a thought leader, expert, professional type of service business, this is exactly what you need to focus on. Your marketing and the marketing that you're doing is there to create positioning for what you do. And when we're successful at being positioned at what you do, they reach out to you. Hopefully that makes sense. So, working in healthcare, but trying to transition to life and health insurance because I want to help people also have flexible schedule, residual income, but I'm invisible. Like you're saying, yeah, you're invisible. We need to get you out there. We need to create obviously I can't do it on here, but we need to build a strategy, a campaign, and a process that gets you systematically and persistently in front of people. Here's the thing. Not everyone's looking for insurance. Not everyone is looking for valuations or consulting. But when they are, we need to be top of mind. And the only way you're top of mind is stays consistently in front of them in a nice way, not in a salesy, slimy way, but in a nice way. I had an attorney once call me up and he says to me, I've been the victim of your mailings for the last 2 years. Okay. Now, back in the day when I first started, all I had was physical mail and speaking and writing articles and workshops and all of that. So we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the email. And so I first off, attorney calling you and saying, I've been victimized by you. I start freaking out and say, oh my God, I'm getting sued. Oh my God, I'm getting sued. And that wasn't the case. He says, but now I need your help. Now I need your help. He has sent me every project that's in my wheelhouse that's come in his doors since that time. And that was 1998. 98. But it took 2 years of me planting seeds. Our expert businesses we may hear the things about, oh, it was built overnight, or we just hung a website and everything was fine. Listen, you got to look at the weight behind them. I look at some of the top people, whether it's Brendan Burchard, James Wedmore, Evan Carmichael, Amy Porterfield. There is a trail behind them, a trail of effort, a trail of work, a trail of failures, a trail of stepping stones. And so I'm not going to kid you. I'm going to give you straight. It's a journey, and we need to get on it and stay on it consistently. We need to think of our businesses like bamboo. See, bamboo, you put the seedlings of bamboo in, it gestates under the ground for up to 3 years. We don't even see the growth. But then it pokes itself through the ground and it becomes fully grown in a matter of months. This is what we need to do. We got to get rid of the beanstalk syndrome in wealth building, in money, in business. We don't throw the seeds out the window, wake up the next morning, there's the beanstalk. We got to nurture it. We got to build it. We got to get in the game, stay in the game, be in the game. So good. I hope that helps. I think what we need to do, Misty, is start to look at some of the things. And I have some content on my YouTube channel under Thought Leadership that might help you too. So, and see if we can get you rocking and rolling to make it happen. And don't get discouraged. Here's the thing. Brian Tracy, a friend of mine, Brian Tracy, once said, everyone that's in the top 10% had to start in the bottom 10%. So we all start somewhere. And it's a journey, and no one will judge you. Well, some people might judge you. I certainly won't. I will respect your effort. I will respect your journey. I respect the path to success, because it is a path. And sometimes it's curvy, and sometimes it's got pebbles on it. Okay. Awesome. Other questions? Anything else coming up? I saw, let me just see. Prairie Dodger said something. I have been with entrepreneurs for 4 years for the mindset. The idea of making my own business is exciting, but I have serious block when it comes to sales, soliciting in particular. Oh, this is rich. So here's the thing. I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA. We don't sell. I don't sell. There's a couple things to think about when it comes to selling. One, my dear friend Colin Boyd says, selling is serving. And it truly is. The question here, let me ask you this. If you went to a restaurant and you had this wonderful meal and you had this wonderful experience and it was just the night of your lives, would you have a problem sharing that with someone? And the answer is no. It's the same thing about your services. We're not trying to, the problem with selling is that if we truly are trying to sell, then what we're really trying to do is convince someone. I don't ever want to convince anyone. And there's been plenty of times I've been on stage and I said, I'm not going to try to sell you. I don't want you to buy anything from me if you don't want to. Here's the thing. You stand in the conviction of the transformation and the solution you bring to the table. You answer the questions to make sure that they have all their questions answered and that they can make an informed decision. Some will, some won't, and you move on. The Coast Guard has a saying. It says you save the one swimming towards the ship first. Well, if the possible customer isn't swimming towards the ship, you're not going to sell. The problem is too often we look at selling as convincing. I don't want to convince anyone. I want to inform. I want to serve. I want to be in my conviction and allow them to make a decision. But we get uncomfortable with the thought of selling. Now, let me put something out there. Do you have the conviction of the transformation, the solution is the best one out there that you're providing? In other words, do you believe in your stuff? I believe in my stuff. It's proven. It's worked. It's worked for me. It's worked for young people. It's worked for old people. It works. I believe in it. I stand in that conviction because it's been proven. And sometimes the trepidation is we're unsure of ourselves and not the selling process. We're unsure of our product, our service. But when we get a chance to get to a point where we're comfortable and that we can stand in that conviction of what we offer, the belief of it, we can bring it to the table. And it's a matter of fact, and you put it down and they decide whether they're going to buy it or not. Conviction in cold calling is so terrifying, Prairie Dodger says. Yeah, so here's the thing. Cold calling is a different game because you're cold calling. You don't know if they're a prospect. You don't know if they have the problem that you have the solution for. You don't know if they have already solved it. You don't know anything about them other than a phone number and you're making a cold call. Why I like the technology that we have today is people get a chance to self-select. You all decided Hey, I want to watch Mel. I want to have a conversation with Mel. You self-selected. And we get a chance because too often we think that in a noisy market, and this will help you too, Misty, in a noisy market, the way to get attention from the market is to just get louder. So we yell louder, we scream louder, we get louder. That's not how to get attention in a noisy market. In a noisy market, we simply need to find the pocket of the most qualified prospects for us and then whisper the right words into their ears at the right time. And when we do that, they'll come along. I'm not trying to capture the whole market. I don't want the whole market. I want the people that I know I can serve. I want the people that my words resonate with, my values resonate with, their vision resonates with them. Juan Carlos, how you doing, man? It's been too long. We got to catch up. So that's the thing that I think we need to understand is when we start to look at selling, first off, make sure that we're in front of the right people, the right ears. Because if we're not in front of the right people, it's going to be a rough road of a lot of rejections. You're not going door to door anymore. We're creating strategies to allow the right people to attract the right people to us so we can have real conversations in a way that makes sense. Evelyn says, I'm in the education field and I want to launch my brand, my own company for serving kids, youngsters, adults who had different learning styles. And I think selling is serving too. I have to get known in the market with a strategy. Yeah. Yeah, what we need to do. So one of the things that I do, aside from the money and the wealth, is dealing with thought leadership. And how do we create distinction through our content? So one of the biggest ways, and I talk about the thinking hierarchy, okay? And when you put information out, and I'll finish with this, so and let you all go, because I could go all night, which is you just, anyone that knows me knows that I can't. So here's the thing: if we look at creating content, and for those of you that are on Instagram and want to see this graphic, I want you to go to my YouTube channel and you'll see it there too. But here's the thing: at the very beginning, at the very base of this, is that when you create content, when you create conversations, one of the first things that you need to do is that content has to be essential. Okay. In other words, it needs to land in their lap. It needs to solve a problem that they want solved. But if it's only essential, you're a commodity. If it's only essential, it's not, you're going to be based on price. So what we need to then do is look at it from another perspective. We need to add another layer on there, in that it needs to be expansive. Meaning that there's other people doing what you do. There's other people that are talking about leadership. There's other people that are talking about corporate culture and diversity. The question is, what do you add to the topic? Not repeating what everyone else is doing, but what is your uniqueness that you add to the topic? Here's one of the ways to do it. You look at what everyone else is doing. You read a book. You get 3 books. The current book, the current trending book on your topic, the contemporary book on your topic, and the classic book on your topic. And I want you to read it like this. I want you to have 2 pads of paper. I want you to put yes and on one pad and yes but on the other pad. And as you read a point, you go, oh, I agree with that. I want you to write that point on the yes and pad. And then I want you to say, and I think we need to do this. So you're extending the thinking. If you disagree with it, you'll put it on the yes, but pad, and you'll give the contrast to it. So for instance, I don't necessarily agree with the debt pay down strategy that my contemporaries talk about you solely pay down your debt and then you worry about investing. So I get it. In fact, I did a whole training on it. In fact, it's on the All Access page for the replay. And I get it. And here's the thing. It can work, but here's the perspective. I do it this way, and here's why. So what I've done is I've said, here's the shoulders of the people that have gone before me, and I'm going to give you my new perspective. So I expand the thinking on it. So it has to be expansive. Number 3, it has to be actionable. If you're going to create content and it is not actionable, that means they can't get results. They have to know what the steps are to take to get results. So it needs to be essential, it needs to be expansive, it needs to be actionable, and then it needs to be refined. Refined is your delivery, it's your frameworks, it's all of that. So I want you to take and put things into diagrammatic frameworks. I love doing frameworks. You all know that, because a picture is a picture, a diagram, a visual thing is a emotional intake. That's why when you see a baby or you see a puppy, you kind of have this response. But because we put structure around it, it's a logical intake. It's the one tool you have to communicate to the world in an emotional, logical way at the same time. And when you build it the proper way, the way we kind of teach it, you embed psychology into it. Influence, persuasion. I learned this as testifying as a financial expert in front of juries. Now you refine your content, and the last piece is your distinction. The problem is that most people will look at this and they'll try to figure out their distinction first. Your distinction, your story, it's your style, it's your presentation, it's the way you do things. But distinction without the other 4 of essential, expansive, and actionable and refined doesn't do you good. I can shave my head and paint my head orange and I'm distinct. There's no value in it, okay, other than humor, okay? So where you need to go with your content to create positioning is you always have to build it from the bottom up. It must be essential to their lives first, expanded second, actionable third, refined fourth, and distinct fifth. When you do it that way, things will shift for you. All right? Cool. I hope that helps you. Get out there. I'm going to be live. Like I said, make sure you're in the Affluent Entrepreneur Facebook group. Make sure that you're going through the training with me. We did training 1 today. The replay is up, and we've got training 2 and 3 next week. This is about building your wealth journey. This is about giving you the pathway to financial independence, to give you the blueprint to making that happen. All right. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to support you. Let's make it happen. Let's do it together. You're no longer alone in this money conversation. You're no longer alone in trying to figure out how to get affluence and wealth. You're no longer alone. You've got a place to go. All right. Bring them to me. Let's figure it out and let's do it together. All right. Evelyn says, yes, the training was awesome. Yes, it was. But I'm biased. Thank you. Thank you. We got more to come. We just scratched the surface. All right. So join me. Let's have some fun. Go to affluencelive.com. Make sure you're in, watch the replay, post your questions, post your comments, post your successes and ahas, and let's keep this thing rocking and rolling. Let's keep having the conversations, and let's make sure that we set you up to change everything in 2022 and beyond. All right. You guys have an incredible day, incredible evening, wherever you're at. And always, always remember this, to strive to live a life that outlives you. All right. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.